Okay. And 4th of July is coming up pretty soon. So here we are finally, after talking about this project, I'm not kidding, about 7 years. So we are actually on the precipice of being able to send out our request for quotation for W8HP, and this is the rough draft. And I want to emphasize that what we're looking at tonight is a rough draft. This was pulled out of my head in the last 48 hours. So I urge everybody to, not at this minute, but take a look at it and make any additions and changes that you may see necessary. But I try to capture the most of it. So we start off talking about who we are, the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club, and we operate the W8HP and W8JXU repeaters, locally known as the DART. Okay. And so thanks to the grant from the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Group, we're now seeking quotations to replace one antenna and two antenna masts on the rooftop of our apartment building in Oak Park. And we go into the details. It's the corrugated metal panels that are separated by a layer of fiberglass. It goes on and on. So anyway, and of course we're talking about, this is the elevator room. I was calling it the utility penthouse. Sometimes I guess in the fancier places that's what they call it, but it's basically the elevator motor room, and that seems to be what I've heard it called. So we prefer the service to be a turnkey basis so that it's a package, and we'd like to get the best bidding on the package. We would like the vendors to do what we can't do, but as a group, we want to participate in anything that we can do, in terms of planning and figuring it out and that sort of a thing. So that's why I try to capture what I have understood to be the case from the discussions we've had over time. So work to be performed is, first of all, I found something interesting. If you look right here and you look at we'll talk about this, but you see these unistrut brackets there. So first of all, it'd be nice to have them look at and determine whether they're attached to a steel I-beam, which I believe they are, and if they're strong enough to withstand 150 mile an hour winds, pushing up against a 22-foot fiberglass antenna. So if they are, our task is very simple, or much simpler. They can mount the antenna right there, and we're done with the VHF, other than running the cable. Now, if that is not able to accommodate us, then we'll have to figure out something else, and we'll take their recommendation on what they believe is the best way to go on that. They'll the antenna, the thing is 22 feet long, so I guess it fits in a regular delivery truck anyway. So okay, we're recording again. So shipping weight is 65 pounds. So you don't need a forklift with this thing, but you do need 3 or 4 guys to help lift it. I'm picturing it comes in like a wooden container of some sort, or maybe it's cardboard. I'm not sure, but I would think that at that price, we would get a wooden container. While on the ground, we want to do a dry fit of the antenna mast with vendor-provided mounting hardware to make sure everything fits together, right? And also, we need to confirm electrical resonance at 146.040 and 146.060 before we hoist this thing up to the roof. Okay, so once we get past that, they'll use
Can I jump in
whatever
one sec?
met.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just so my job, what I do for a job is installation. Now it's installation of TVs, but I just want to say, like, this number 5, the dry fit of antenna using the vendor provided mounting hardware. Like, if we ask the vendor to give us that hardware and they're not there and we screw around with it, and come time for the installation, they're missing a nut or a bolt or a grub screw, they're going to point the finger at us. I think that should be taken out, and I think it should be on the vendor to deal with all of that. It's if it doesn't fit, that's on them. That's not our problem. It's they bought the wrong mount. We told them what antenna it was, and if it doesn't fit, fix it. Get a different mount. I
Well,
don't think we should be involved in that.
Yeah, I agree. If we're hiring someone to mount,
yeah.
they're gonna do the mounting and they're responsible for the mounting. We've told them everything they need to know.
I think asking them for parts for us to screw around with in a parking lot is a mistake.
Right.
Okay. Let me digest that a little bit.
Well, go back to the statement earlier, turnkey operation.
All right. Hold on a minute. Yeah.
We don't want to be, I mentioned this at a meeting a couple of weeks ago or something. The gas station I used to hang out at used to have a labor sign. Labor was $10 an hour, $15 an hour you could watch, and $50 an hour you could help. We don't want to help.
Okay.
I also, just reading ahead, just because you highlighted it, I'm not sure that number 6, I don't think we should be telling the professionals how to do their job. If they want to bring in a crane, if they want to do a boom truck, if they want to carry it up the stairs, however they want to do it, that's on them and nothing to do with us.
Right.
It should say, get it to the roof.
But can we keep in using soft webbing or padding slings to prevent crushing the fiberglass antenna?
That's like a client telling me, hey, I want you to hang that TV and I want you to use 4-inch Phillips screws. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are pros.
Okay.
They know-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is why we're doing this. Okay.
Sorry to jump at you like that, but just as an installer, the
Yeah.
client who doesn't know the newest technologies telling me
Right.
how to do my job, I would be bristly. I would be
Well,
less than helpful.
And at the same point, when there's failure and the failure is because of something they did,
Right.
if they come back to us and say, I did it that way because you
Yeah.
told us to do it
Right.
that way,
Then it
that's
wouldn't
not how
fa-
we normally do it.
Right.
If
then it
we
wouldn't have
say
failed.
install it and they say we're on it, if they fail, they're responsible.
Okay.
Gang up on Joe tonight.
Listen, you got to know your audience, right?
Yeah.
And who we're writing to, and that's important. You're right. This
we
is
respect you enough to be honest with
really-
you, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This isn't really ganging up. This
Oh,
is
I
just
get it. Believe
yeah.
me. I get it. This is right. We want to make it, listen, too many words, it's not going to get read, right?
Right.
So to take out the words that you feel aren't really on the first, this is a first pass. I mean, vendors could look at this and say, I ain't doing this, and toss it in the bin, So that's fine. I'm good with it, and I appreciate the feedback, and thank you. All right, so let's just keep on here. The next thing is to mount the antenna, and then wall penetration, get the heliax through there to the location of the duplexer, which we haven't quite figured out yet, which it didn't occur to me that we hadn't figured that out until I started writing this. So there is some advantage to going through this exercise. Here is just an example of, these are the existing unistruts. And then this is what it was. If you look closely, zoom in, you can see there's a connector there, and a connector there. I believe that's this, and this. So this is all gone now. This picture, this does not exist anymore. The picture on the left is the current situation. So if we could use this for the new antenna, plus the equipment rack is exactly on the other side of this wall. It's right on the other side of this wall. So I don't know. Let's hope that's true. Anyway, so we'd want them to purchase and install the antenna as shown below and devise a way to attach it directly to the I-beam in the location that we're talking about there. Half-inch heliax transmission line to the new telewave duplexers, which we're not sure. Well, we believe, just assume they're going to be adjacent between the wall, the stairway where you walk in, and there's a wall. Right now, we have like a table there, so we'll have to either remove the table and put a rack there, of which we haven't even talked about getting a rack. So, or we did talk about it. Somebody said they might have something, but that's still up in the air, but that's not a big deal. Anyway, terminate both ends of the heliax with end connectors, but we need them outfitted for two PL259 adapters. So why are we doing that? Good question. I don't know. I just think that every one of these heliaxes that I've seen are always terminated in end connectors, but in amateur radio, PL259 is the way to go, I suppose. And then don't forget the 10-inch copper bus bars, one for each antenna. So grounded to something. We're grounded right now to a steel I-beam. I guess that's what you ground to when you're at 150 feet above ground. So whatever. Or if there's an electrical grounding system. Now, I know there is for the lightning array. They're about 6 inches tall. But in the meantime, we've got our two antennas right there. So don't talk to me about lightning arresters. I think we got the market cornered there. Anyway, on the UHF antenna, which on the left is the UHF antenna, on the right is the existing VHF antenna, by the way. And this photo just shows what the composition of the wall is in case we got to drill through it. You can see it's a sandwich of two corrugated metal panels with some insulation in between there. Anyway, just change the mount. Here, we'll keep the antenna. There's nothing wrong with it. It's it's relatively new. It's in good condition as far as we can tell. We just want to replace the mount to make sure that it's stable and won't fall apart and all. It's time.
We're going to leave the current one in place while we put the new one up, right? Joe?
Now, there's a good question.
I mean,
There is a good question. Yes, of course we do. We'll
well,
have to
leave
figure that
the
out.
current station working as much as we can.
Yeah.
I don't know if any parts. Are there any parts? The question is, are there any parts we're going to use out of the old station in a new one?
Not in the antenna system. And actually, Len, all right, so here's the answer. Yeah, I'm a little slow. So, okay, so this antenna currently is mounted in a place that we're not too crazy about. Here, it's mounted here. And if you'll remember, and I'll be glad to pull it up if you want to see it, it's just like bolts. There's no unistrut or anything. So just leave this for now. About 2 feet away is a steel I-beam. So what we would like is the new antenna mount to mount right to the steel I-beam. So it'll be located a foot or two away. So yes, to answer your question, Len, yes, we can leave it alone until the other station is totally up and running. The other system is totally up and running. Good. Thank you for that. Okay. Okay. Which, I do have a photos. Well, I took out, I didn't want to have too many photos. And also the other thing we have to be careful about, and I have to get permission from the landlord before we put this out, is for security. I don't know if there is or isn't, but given what's going on in the world these days, you can't be too sure. So, but I think it's going to be okay. Sorry, where am I going? Oh, UHF antenna, the same thing. Just change out the the anchor, the antenna mount, anchor it to an I-beam closest to the location of the existing UHF antenna.
How you doing?
And all that kind of stuff. So it's the same basic thing. But in this case, I think it's a good idea to run heliax. Right now, it's just like cheap sort of coax cable from the 1950s, I think. It's like really old stuff. And the reason is the Heliax, I mean, that's a UHF antenna. Maybe we might want to be able to transmit on that one day. We could or couldn't, but the Heliax is very low loss. So the problem that we have with remote stations and receiving them with noise, will be certainly helped out with that. So I would like to include that. Certainly, if the price turns out to be like off the charts crazy and we have to start stripping stuff out, obviously, that's one place to start, but I'd rather keep it in if we can and so on. So anyway, this is why, by the way, I think that those unistruts on the outside for the antenna are connected to the I-beam, because I believe that's the inside of them. This is what the I-beam, this is what the inside looks like. It gives the vendors a chance. And then this is just general requirement stuff, pretty, FCC licensing. We'll look after all the FCC licensing. We'll have to figure out who's temporary storage, if that's necessary, exactly what we're going to do. As far as coordination, we coordinate with Mark, the Michigan Amateur Radio Council, whatever, so on, and that sort of stuff. I mean, this is all standard, off the shelf stuff. So, and cables, all that. So anyway, all right. So that's what I got. So we're ready to rock and roll. I just need a little bit of feedback on this. And off to the races we go. And I know guys are getting ready for a field day and are totally consumed with that. I'm hoping to make progress, but if not, I mean, it's just another week away. But I think we're 95% of the way there and ready to move forward. So this is all good. Does anybody? That's all I have for tonight. Does anybody have any comments or questions or anything more?
Are you gonna save that in the drive? So if
I
anybody
am
wants to
here.
look at it and can tweak it and then maybe email it to you. Yeah, download it from the drive, do your tweaking and then email it
Yeah,
back.
exactly. So I have a few more little things that every time I go through it, it's like it's never ending, right? It's like, oh, I got to change this and that. So I noticed just a few other small things. I'll make that change. We'll upload this to the, okay, let's see how good I am here. Do I have this open? I bet I do not. Well, okay. It's funny. I work all day. I have like 25 things open here. And all right, well, anyway, well, I did. But yeah, so we'll get that. Oh, here we go. Okay. So let's just look at this for a minute. Maybe you can help me on this. So, okay, so we go to Google, we go to the waffle, right? And then we go down here to the drive, YouTube Drive, or not YouTube. What am I talking about? What is
Google
this again?
Drive.
Google Drive. Thank you very much. So go down to Google Drive, and then once we're in Google Drive, oh, don't forget Google Meet, but we don't care about that right now. So then what you do is you then scroll down. They don't want to make it too easy, and you'll get different, Google Docs and Google Sheets and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, the template gallery you don't have to worry about. So then we have purchase orders, expense report, but here's where I'm going. Okay, very good. So then go to your Google Drive, My Drive. No, you don't want to go to My Drive. You want to go shared with me. Okay, then up here it says shared with me. And so we're going there. We're going to the Dart. Then we'll go to, what would this be? This would be really kind of a legal thing, I guess. I'll put it, our business, we'll put it somewhere. So we'll put it, wait a minute, let me just look at something real quick. Hold on, let's see. I'm still getting used to this.
There was a folder called proposals right there.
There we go.
Oh, there's
Yay.
RFQ right there.
RFQ.
So you got a folder called
Okay.
RFQ, so it'll go
So we
there.
have
Okay, it'll be
so
there.
that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it's going to be. So shared with me, you go to Dart, you go to business, and then it'll be in there. And I'll make a few small changes here tonight. Okay. And Vera, thank you for that and keeping us up to date here. Then, so what'll happen here, and I'll do quickly. What will happen is, okay, so once we get buy-in and everybody's happy with all the wording, we'll take out, put in anything more than that based on the feedback. And so this will be, I would like to see at least 3 vendors, and let's just get an idea. Now, one of the vendors, I know we're pushing hard, there's a strong push towards the group there, the MI6 group, and which is okay. They can certainly, but they're hard to track down because they don't really have the kind of website. But we have to get clearance from the building. So anyway, so we'll get clearance from the building, which will be not a problem, I'm sure. And then we'll get this out, then we'll get proposals in, and then we'll take a look and we'll figure out who can do what for what price and go from there. So
I would think clearance from the building would be number 1 on the list.
it is number 1 on the list. I'm going to send this tomorrow morning. I wanted to finish it. John, I'm not kidding. I finished this at like 6:30. So, so it's just very, very interesting because
Yeah.
I've been thinking about doing this for like 6 weeks, and it's like a term paper. I like put myself in term paper mode. It's like you got to be done now, and it's like, so okay, so I just spent like 2 days, which could have been done, a little bit every day. But anyhow, we're where we need to be, so that's a good thing. So this will be in the RFQ by tomorrow morning, and I'd love, and more feedback. The more feedback, the better. So appreciate that. What else do I have? I think that's a
Is there a
long and
board
short
meeting
of it.
this week?
Is there a board meeting this week? Well, sure. Let's have a board meeting because we missed it last month because it like fell off my radar screen. But we haven't had a board meeting yet with the new board. And not that there's a lot, but yes, we will have a board meeting for those board members who are available to attend. I'll put out an invite, and for those board members and members, not board members or not members, just club members. Let me put it that way, to club members that want to attend. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and to be continued. So stay tuned. We're making good progress, and don't forget, this is officially Practice CW week at the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club. So get out those keys. All right. See you later. Thank you.
See you
Bye bye.
Friday.